Hey, it's Rachel Cooke, your modern mentor. I'm the founder of Lead Above Noise, where we help teams work better by design. We deliver the tools and frameworks to help ensure work is productive, profitable, and energizing for the human spirit. I would love to come speak at your next event or offsite to deliver the clarity, confidence, and tools your leaders need to bring this shift to life. Reach out today at leadabovenoise.com/connect. When I was a kid, my mom used to take me shopping at stores that made you stand in line while they counted your items and gave you a number tag before sending you into the dressing room. It always took a little longer, but whenever I came out of the dressing room, they took all the stuff back without counting it. As a kid, I found it super annoying. As an adult, I see the intent. It was fraud prevention. But the execution, the not bothering to count when you came out, it made the whole thing a waste of time. They were creating motion without meaning. And that's kind of what's happening in organizations right now with meetings. Like, we're drowning in meetings. And yet so often, teams are missing what they need. They're not sure which priority is at the top, whether or not that timeline has shifted, or how we're troubleshooting that tech glitch that showed up on Tuesday. They're just meeting. It is motion without meaning, like the fitting room thing. And we need to start to release our obsession with meeting for the sake of meeting, and we need to start being more intentional about how we're truly connecting, how we're getting what we need. We need to let go of motion without meaning. The answer isn't fewer meetings. It's better rhythm, like operating rhythms. These are the heartbeat of how work actually flows through your organization. And when it's designed intentionally, it creates space for the things that matter instead of just filling up all of your time. So how do you build rhythms that work? Here are a few that I often recommend. First, have a rhythm for forcing priority trade-offs. I've had this dream before where we all walk around the office with literal plates, like straight up dinner plates, and anything a leader wants to add, they have to find the space. You want to drop some broccoli on my plate? You may need to scoop off those mashed potatoes. I know, I have weird dreams, but the point is, I wish leaders really understood what they were asking of their teams. But the truth is they're busy. They're feeling major urgency, and they don't have the time to calculate how much work they're actually dishing out. No pun intended. So we need rhythms to force these conversations. A regular space whose only purpose is for all the priorities to be held up next to each other, so leaders can see everything they've asked for, and they can determine how they want to spread resources across. Without these touch points, priorities only get added, never reduced, and balls get dropped and souls burn out. Next, have a rhythm for raising concerns, but safely. Yes, we have a lot of meetings. And yes, there is probably an agenda item that reads issues or obstacles. The problem is these forums are really about momentum. And when we raise problems, it can position us to look bad. So people don't raise them, and the problems don't get solved, and the balls get dropped. So try having an operating rhythm for this, a regular means of bringing people together with a problem-solving mindset. The question isn't, okay, who's failing? The question is, what's at risk and how can we collectively find solutions before something breaks? These are working sessions only focused on solving problems, so there's no judgment here. Next, have a rhythm for clarifying workflows. You know that thing that happens when teams are supposed to be collaborating, but they just keep hitting roadblocks? Like when marketing and product keep colliding because how they work together hasn't been defined. So try scheduling regular workflow reviews, maybe quarterly or monthly. You bring a couple teams together and give it an hour. Look at what worked well this quarter and what broke down. Where were there questions or issues around ownership, around who takes the lead, around what that collaboration actually looks like? And ask, where did we collide? Where did work get stuck? Where did we build in opposite directions? And then just talk it through. How do we want this to flow differently next quarter? Does marketing need to validate demand before the product gets built? Does product need to show prototypes before marketing commits to positioning? Adjust the pattern based on what didn't work. And finally, have a rhythm for capturing lessons while they're fresh. The problem isn't protecting time to reflect. The problem is that often by the time we schedule a reflection, we've all kind of forgotten what happened. Make capturing lessons immediate. When something breaks or succeeds unexpectedly, assign someone pretty quickly to document what happened. Capture 5 bullets. What happened? What did we expect? What was different? What will we do differently? And who else should know this? Create a shared place where these get held. Every project adds to it. And then monthly, or whatever works for you, when you do reflect, you're working with an actual data. And then, on whatever cadence you actually do reflections, you have actual data to work with about what broke, and you're not relying on people's kind of fuzzy memories from 3 weeks ago. Learning happens when you capture it fresh, not when you schedule time to remember it. These are just some of the rhythms that may serve you. I'm sure there are others, so don't be afraid to think big. I'd love to come speak at your next event or offsite about how you can bring these ideas to life. Reach out anytime at leadabovenoise.com/connect. You can follow Modern Mentor on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Find and follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks so much for listening and have a successful week. Modern Mentor is a quick and dirty tips podcast. Thanks to the QDT team. Audio engineer Dan Firabend. Director of podcasts Holly Hutchings. Ad operations specialist Morgan Christensen. Marketing manager Rebecca Sebastian. Podcast associate Maram Engelheed. And our marketing contractor Nat Hoops.